All right, so it's been a minute. I hope everybody is doing well. So I wanted to talk about just what's been happening in terms of the market for the last couple of weeks. Some interesting news has come out. There's one stock that caught my eye, of course, and I'll talk about that a little later. So I'll go through some of the reports I've been looking at, news articles, etc. And then at the end, I'll talk about this one stock that I think is undervalued on the JSE still to this day. And so we'll go through that. Before, of course, let me get into a word of prayer before we begin. So, Lord, we thank you so much for this day. We thank you for the ability to produce wealth. Lord, we pray that this will be a meaningful discussion, one that adds value to those who watch it. Lord, we thank you for this community in Jesus' name. Amen. All right, hope everybody is doing well. It's been a while, right? The first company I wanted to start with, whose report I saw, and as good to see the turnaround, is One-on-One Educational Services. I believe their Q3 came out. Let me check on them. So before I look at the report, year to date, this started the year at 99 cents. So they've been kind of hovering around the 99, $1, which was the IPO price for a while. And as you see here, they've been kind of up and down in terms of just what you're seeing in terms of the chart here, right? Now, their report just came out, as in a couple of days ago. And so let's look at the report and then we talk about what that may mean for the stock a little later on, all right? So this is their Q3. And I opened it already. So I was looking at it earlier today. So I'll start from the top, right? So I'll go with the MD&A. I believe they have one. That's a summary. I'll read the report myself. Is there no MD&A? Could have sworn I saw one. Is that the chairman's statement here, the director's report? If not, I'll go straight to the revenues. Okay, I thought there was MD&A here. So they had, rewind back a couple of years, it came out, had a great pandemic, essentially, and then things kind of started to, correct a bit, I guess, as companies kind of adjusted. And then they had a pivot. They had a major pivot in terms of business model, etc. We had an interview with the CEO, I think September 2023, when Ricardo was talking about the new strategy, etc. And maybe a little less than 2 years later, we're seeing the impact of the strategy that they mentioned, right? So we're seeing here, we'll talk about the Q and then we'll talk about the year to date, right? So for the Q, revenues from contracted customers, 100 million up, just 6 million from the same period last year. But it gets more, interesting when we go down the report. Gross profit, 80 million compared to 78. And admin expenses have actually been down about 2 million, and then selling expense 3 million. Now, I'm very interested to see their selling expenses so low, right? Because of their business model. Clearly, they're not, I'm not sure the model they have here, right? I don't know if they have sales rep going out. I probably should ask, Ricardo about it. But to only have 3 million selling expense for a quarter where you did 100 million is amazing to see, right? That means they kind of have the contracts going that's generating most of the income, and they don't have to spend a high amount or high commission to get in that business. So that actually bodes well for them. Operating profit 40 million compared to 34, and finance costs up to 4 million from 3 million, right? So what we have here is when you look at the net profit, the net profit is up almost 50%, right? So 24 million, half of 24 is 12, and 24 is 36, right? So that's good to see with similar numbers, right? A difference of 6 million in terms of revenues, the profits are up 50%, right? And the EPS, of course, is almost up for the same amount. Year to date, though, it's a more dramatic difference, right? So for the 9 months, 270 million as opposed to 206 million for the same period last year. So that is significant, right? Then when we get to the overall profitability for the year, they had a loss of 17 million last year for the 9 months, whereas they have a profit of 55 million. So that's pretty good to see, right? Negative EPS last year, positive here now. So they're certainly on the path to recover. Well, I'd say probably fully recovered, right? So that's good to see for them. Let's check out the balance sheet as well. So intangible assets here, I'm figuring that's their platform mostly. Property, plant, and equipment is going to be low for them. I think their major equipment here is probably the content studio, the classroom in a box that they have being installed at schools, things like that. So that's their inventory. We have due from directors 24 million, inventory is 25 million. Trade and other receivables, I think based on the nature of who they do business with, I think one of their major clients is government in Bahamas and government in Jamaica. So receivables are just part of the territory, but it's good to see them with cash, right? 50 million in cash is good because that cash position in past was pretty it was lower compared to where it is now. So balance sheet is getting better in terms of assets. The thing that I noted here as well is their accumulated surplus or deficit was negative last year, negative 27 million. Now it's positive, so that's good. Now, one of the things I thought about as I looked at this company, I was like, it's so interesting because as they continue to increase in profitability, as they continue to build up their return earnings, we may see a dividend from this company, which would be interesting, right? So I'm guessing if they get to maybe like 100 million in accumulated surplus, we may see a dividend announcement. I don't know. I haven't spoken to Ricardo about it, but that milestone would be major for them. It would certainly signal something good to shareholders. They have a lot of shares outstanding though, 1.9 billion. So any dividend that they're doing, for it to be a reasonable dividend, it would have to be a certain percentage, maybe like a 40 million or $50 million dividend, but we'll see. We'll cross that bridge when we get there, right? Long-term loan, 61 million, down from 73. And so non-current liabilities are down. So the deferred tax liability down from 27 to 3. And then we have current liabilities actually going up, right? 175 as opposed to 132. It's mainly due to trade and other payables and deferred income, right? And then cash flow, I just wanted to see cash flow from operations. Cash flow from operating activities, that's positive. That's 92 million compared to 11, right? I won't dig into the other areas now because I want to spend 10 minutes per company. We're almost at the 10-minute mark, right? But this is certainly boding well for them. This is Oneonone. Now the market, I think, is going to be slow to respond to this one. It's my personal opinion here. And they'll have to keep performing consistently before the market responds, right? And that's because of how the market views tech companies, how the market views companies in this space. Is it warranted? We're not going to talk about that right now. But kudos to them. Congratulations to the team. And so that's one of the companies I wanted to talk about, right? So how are you guys feeling about Oneonone? I agree, Delton. Very healthy, right? Certainly, better compared to where it would be in the past. So, yeah. What do you guys think? Any one-on-one shareholders here? I'd like to hear if you are. Yardi, nice seeing you. Well, I don't know who you are here, but I met quite a few persons at the Trans Jamaica AGM. So shout out to everybody. It's good to be doing a live stream again. It's been a while, and all this means is that everybody is asleep. So I pray that it stays that way, at least until the stream ends, right? So one-on-one is that first company that I wanted to look at. So let me find another article. There was something that I saw, right, that I wanted to bring up here. So I'm gonna hopefully look at 3 companies. We'll see how the time goes. Chairman said, just saw that Kingston Properties is considering another APO. I did see that too. Not sure if we'll get to it today, but yeah, they have, and we'll see how it goes for them. All right. So the next company, if you guys remember, I'm going to try and find the document here. See if I can find it. So I can show my receipts, right? Because I have to be sure. All right. So okay. So I'm bringing up here my stocks to watch that I had at the start of the year, right? This is not a stocks to watch episode. I'm just going back to give some kind of, just remind you that I've mentioned this company before, and I'll go to it right now. So company here, of course, is Kingston Wharves, right? So Kingston Wharves, I had them at the start of the year, stocks to watch for 2025. Kingston Wharves was one of them at the time. At the start of the year, it was trading at $31, and it's traded within the 30 and 97 to 31, 52 weeks, 24 all the way to 35, right? So they had declared a dividend for 2024. We spoke about that, and the last dividend that they paid was 26 cents. And we had looked at their numbers, spoke about the outlook, and I spoke about the things that I liked, right? The recent expansion, efficiencies and upgrade, and there being opportunities for them, right? So that was, Kingston Wharves at the time. So, fast forward now to where they are. So year to date, they started the year, as I said, at $31. I think at the time I did the stocks to watch was some point in January. But we see here where it's been trading again, just up and down for the year. Went as low as $26. Started to gain back some of its gain back some of what it would have lost early in the year, around June. Then I think they announced a dividend June 5th here, dividend declaration, and the dividend would have been paid on July 17th. All right. So we saw a trade here for 9 million units on the 11th. And the announcement that I wanted to talk about was this one here, right? So it says on the 15th, Kingston Wharves and Cargo Handlers Limited, which is also another listed company, wishes to inform the Jamaica Stock Exchange that on July 14th, Kingston Wharves acquired 112,911,980 stock units, representing 27% of Cargo Handlers Limited, right? So we're going to read through the notice. So Kingston Wharves also attaches a notice to the JSE as acquired by Appendix 1, Clause 12.1 of the JSE Main Market Rulebook. So this is it here. I didn't read this before, so I'll just read through it, see if there's anything to take from it here. So in accordance to Rule 12.1 of the JSE Takeover and Merger Rules, Kingston Wharves has provided the following information regarding its recent acquisition, being 27% of Cargo Handlers Limited. The acquisition of 27% of the stock units was made for investment purposes. Kingston Wharves notes the prospects for growth in logistics generally and for the ongoing development of Jamaica's north coast. Cargo Handlers Limited is well positioned to both contribute and benefit from these important national trends. Kingston Wharves has been recognized as the leading multi-purpose terminal and logistics operator in the Caribbean. So that, acquisition, that purchase of shares makes sense. And Kingston Wharves values the opportunity to align with them and the board and management and other stakeholders in the development of their existing and related business lines. All right. So Kingston Wharves has received an option to acquire additional shares, which, if exercised, would increase the ownership in the company by an additional 13%. Right. So they're looking to go from 27% to 40%. So they'll be evaluating opportunities for continued investment in the stock in line with its investment goals and the needs and prospects for cargo handlers. They do not immediately intend to make any significant sales or purchases, right? And they do not plan to seek control or to acquire a majority shareholding in the company. Then it mentions about Kingston Wharves, right? So while we are doing this, let's look at how cargo handlers have been trading as well. So let's do that. I don't think I've ever looked at cargo handlers. It's been a minute, right? So that announcement was made, share price would have gone up about, well, month to date it says 14%. So it would have gone up since year to date. Started the year at $11, so it's back where it was. Extremely illiquid in terms of trading here, right? Some days 0 units, right? So that's 112 million trade. It's only 412 million units, and that 112 million is more than 25%, right? So that's a big deal, right? So and they're looking to potentially get more, and so that kind of says to me that they could probably even buy the whole company if they wanted to. So there's that, right? So let's go back to Kingston Wharves. So I do think that, again, this just continues to be a stock to watch. I love the acquisition. It makes sense. I know they don't mention. I know they mention not being interested in taking a controlling stake, but I think I look at this and I think about the acquisition that Trans Jamaica did of JIO to completely, eliminate a big chunk of their expenses. And so depending on what the synergies look like, with the more they start working together, who knows, they may decide to just purchase the company outright. This makes me want to look into both companies a little bit more, see what it looks like, see what the numbers look like for both, and just assess what could develop from this, right? So very interesting acquisition. I love that it's from a stock that I was watching at the start of the year. So it's not that I'm, jumping on the bandwagon, kind of thing. So, kudos to the team. I did speak to the CEO. I can't remember his last name now, but Mark. I saw him at the JC Awards. Asked him for an interview. He said yes. He gave me his number, and I did not contact him. So I'm gonna do that and then see if we can line up, an interview. So let me know what you think about Kingston Wharves. Let me see some of your comments here. So Chairman said came over from Brick Talk, so it's a good look for a Friday evening. So I didn't plan mine. So I think, and I think this is the first Brick Talk they're having in a while. I'm not sure, but yeah, I mean, it used to be a Friday tradition, right? Very true. Always good time to meet. Can you do one for Spur Tree? Job. Okay, I'll think about it for Spur 3. Um, I don't even know that Reggae Sumfest was still a thing. That's how old I am. I've noticed a lot of companies are still undervalued on the market, but the economic environment is pressuring even the best companies. Well, I mean, inflation is the lowest it's been in a while, right? Then we see, I think that's a point-to-point inflation was 3.8%. That was interesting to see. So is it that the economic environment is still, I mean, so it may be a sign of things to come, I think, right? So yeah. So every time I look at the market, I get depressed. Why though? Every time I look at the market lately, I see opportunities. So, Sean, I would say you have to understand that this part of investing is the boring part. It's the emotional intelligence part. It's the building up for a brighter future part, right? The days of, you know, quick flips or, IPOs going to the moon and all that stuff are in the rear view mirror. I don't think we're gonna see that anymore because all of you are smarter. You are smarter, and we're more kind of deliberate about how we invest as well. So I think this is the climate, the opportunity for strategic investing. This is the opportunity for persons to take advantage of what's there. This is the opportunity. To me, this is where wealth is built, right? This is where you think about the type of investor you want to be, and you take advantage, of it, right? Um, so learn, grow, invest. We need a stream on how to stay optimistic in the darkness. I mean, hopefully, I just gave you some encouragement there, but I don't. I think it's a great opportunity. Um, Stock price for One-on-One. Call her Sammy. So the stock price was 86 cents, down from IPO price. Deborah says been buying it quietly for the last few months. It has clearly been undervalued. I'm assuming you're talking about Kingston Wharves here. Agreed with you. And I think congrats are in order, Deborah. I think Deborah, I don't know if it was your program, but I saw like Money Moves or Money Move was 2025. Forgive me if I got the name wrong, but congrats on that. If it's yours, I was checking it out on YouTube, so good stuff. Interest rates and inflation rates are trending down, Sean. Better days are ahead. Exactly. Chairman is cheering you up, Sean. BOJ rates, BOJ drop rates, but it's not trickling down. But give it time. It's trending in the right direction, and it's only a matter of time before the market respond, before companies respond. Exactly. Sean is sounding impatient. Sean is sounding impatient. Um, opportunity present for you looking at Image Plus closely. Listen, I wasn't going to talk about Image Plus because, full disclosure, we work with them for earnings calls. We work with them for their AGM. They're a client of ours. Full disclosure, I don't want to see my name in any papers. So I try not to talk about or make it seem like I'm trying to hype up the companies that we work with. I don't want to, present any bias. But really great acquisition for them. Kudos to the team. And from what I understand, that's not the last of it, right? So there's more to come, and definitely an undervalued company, I'd say, right? Jaden, not gonna talk about Fesco, unfortunately. Nvidia is my bread and butter. Listen, I bought Nvidia last year, and I thought I was late to the party. I was like, there's no way. I bought it, I think, after the stock split. So I was like, went up, stock split. Maybe I FOMO'd into it, I don't know. Bought, and I'm up. I'm up maybe 60% by now in a year. So hey, yeah, pretty good. Still check on JC. Patient capital is my thing. Nvidia has been winning. Nvidia has been winning a lot, right? Okay, so let me talk about the last stock here. So let me ask you guys first before I share, right? Which companies do you think are undervalued right now? Which companies do you think are undervalued right now? Okay, Deborah is saying Money Moves isn't his initiative, but they put on an excellent form. Okay, cool. I thought it was yours. Kudos to whoever did it. What I would love to see is, and I was saying this to Kodian, who I saw at Kalila's launch for her workbook, which I have right here. By the way, congrats again to Kalila. I was saying to Kodian, I think somebody else, like I would love to see double the number of persons doing this type of content. So there's Limitless. Stocks on the Rocks doesn't really do content anymore. 876 Invest doesn't really do content anymore. Demetrius is taking a break. There's literally just me and Kalila, right? So I would love to see more events, more content, more creators, more articles, because a part of why persons don't see the opportunities in the market is that there's still a wide number of persons who don't know about the benefits of investing. And there is life that's happening right now for me. And so I can't do content in the way that I would really want to. Ideally for me, I'd go live 3 to 4 days, per week. Talk about the market, talk about, other things, etc. But our son is 4 months old today, and he still needs. I want to be. I want to be there for this part. I don't want to miss this part. And so, my priority, while I'm still in school, while I'm still working, 9 to 5, and running LGI with Renee, is to just prioritize, being there for him. And so can't do as much content as I'd want to. I think Demetrius is preparing to come back though. I think he's been doing like a Forex course or some JSE course, and he's planning to maybe add that to his thing. But there are persons who I've seen take a break. I'm not calling any names, but some persons are on some extended breaks, is what I'll say, right? But I would love to see a year or two from now, we have 5, 10, 15 persons doing content weekly. We have, more and more Jamaicans investing, more and more Jamaicans going through the process. And so I'd love to see just an explosion of active investors, right? Anyway, so Sean says he believes Trans Jamaica, Dolphin Cove, Tropical, NCB, Fesco, Image Plus, and Wisinko are pretty undervalued. I don't agree with some of those. I wouldn't say which. I don't agree with some of those. Half of those, right there with you. Half of them, not much. Not really. All right, so let me talk about my last stock that is undervalued. And I think everybody kind of knows it's been a minute. But I had to say, when I went to the Trans Jamaica AGM yesterday, it renewed my hope, my joy, my prospect for this company. Heard a lot of good things. Got to speak to Ivan. It's been a while since we spoke, and so I'll just say some of the positive things that I heard. Right. So the price has been pretty much flat. Right. When you see this, hold on, my phone is about to shut off for the night. Can't do that. You notice since the offer for sale closed, it's like flatline, right? What this means to me, right? This is where I say my disclaimer. This is not licensed financial advice. Please speak to your licensed financial advisor, so on and so forth, right? This to me tells me that the stock is kind of almost like in a waiting to pounce mode, right? And so we know what's coming, right? So I mentioned two major things that I heard at the AGM. AGM is public on their YouTube channel. Please watch it. But finally, Williamsfield, they're gonna start generating revenue from Williamsfield. They said Q3 of this year. We're actually already in Q3, right? So maybe by the end of September is when they'll start. And that's one. Two, they said that that leg is going to add 11% to their revenues for 2026, right? 11%. That's a big deal, right? So if it's gonna add 11% to the top line, you can imagine what the bottom line will look like as they continue to move towards efficiency, right? So there's that. And finally, I haven't heard anything announced about this yet, but if you remember when Ivan was on Taking Stock a couple of years ago, he mentioned that they do a rate revision for tolls, I think in June, July of each year. So we're in July right now. So I'm anticipating that we'll be hearing at some point a rate increase. Now, why is that important? Rate increase, revenue increases, profits increases, and most importantly for me, dividends will increase because we're in year 5, and year 5 is when they're projecting a massive dividend increase. We already saw that with the first one for the year, and I am anticipating that the second dividend will be similar, if not slightly higher, right? So I think that it's 12.48 in terms of dividend. I am anticipating something like maybe, like 15 cents or something like that, maybe 18 cents, who knows, right? So that is coming up in just 2 months. 2 months, because we're in July now. So there's August, there's September, dividend will be declared. So this won't be here forever, right? Is what I'm anticipating. So certainly, and we saw before the offer for sale, the price went as high as $4.98. So it's down significantly from that high of $4.98. And so certainly this is my number one undervalued stock on the JSE right now. There are others, of course, that I would be able to look at, but I wanted to keep it to 3 because this is not the stocks to watch, right? So we're gonna do that still. I think Chike was supposed to be joining me for it, but I'm waiting. I think I was supposed to get back to him, but yeah, right? So it's only undervalued because they won't. Well, they're going to open that soon, sir. TJH Army. I wonder if I'm on the committee, right? Listen, when I say TJH is extremely undervalued, next year I'm coming here. Okay, Sean. Well, I can't say I disagree with you. All right, so Humble Boss, let me explain this. I am diligently pursuing this, but here's the thing. I've been thinking about this recently because I've been taking the steps, as I've shared publicly, of becoming an independent financial advisor. And the more that I think about it, I'm not in a rush. Now, I'm still pursuing the process, but I'm not in a rush, only because I like all the things that a coach allows me to do, right? Being a coach allows me to do. I like the way that I get to work with clients. I like the type of clients that I'm working with right now. I like the fact that I'm able to teach them and empower them to do it themselves. And what I was saying to somebody is that as an advisor, I feel like persons will just ask me to tell them what to buy. So since I don't get to do that right now, and I get to guide them through a process that will help them to identify it themselves. It's like, for example, I was having a coaching call today with a client who I started working with earlier this year, and the way she was just kind of going through the process, saying what she's looking at, saying what her research has brought, saying how she's been able to take what she's been learning and apply it, that's what I love to hear. So, I'm not, needing to give her any stock picks. She's been learning how to do it herself. And then we can just have a discussion about, what her thought process is, how she's making the decisions, all of the things that I think make it more interesting than me saying buy one, two, three. Because as a financial advisor, that's what I feel like I may be boxed into. I may be wrong, but I really like being a coach. So I'm not in a rush to become an advisor, but I am going through that process, right? Just wanted to state that. So yeah, but a lot to like about 40K shareholders. Whoa, where did you see that? Where did they mention that? 40,000? Man, that's a lot. That's a lot. 40,000. Wow. Oh, and I got my Trans Jamaica lunch case, right? The pouch to carry my lunch. Certainly, I'll be using that because I had some goodies outside the AGM, right? Sean says, I'm hoping to retire next year from Trans Jamaica dividends. Can I retire from? No, not yet. That's still. I need a lot more units to retire. TJH is a spring being depressed by oversupply, but wait until the supply dries up. Stay tuned. I think the second dividends will be 12 cents. I'm thinking 15. But we'll see. Haley Beauty, good night. Did anyone see the 1.2 billion shares that got bought in one day for Trans Jamaica? When was that? Is that this one? Oh, I'm not sharing my screen. Is it this one you're talking 1.2 billion shares? Yes. Did we? I guess we'll see on the next report who bought that. Yeah, man, it's here. This is the one that he's talking about here. So, okay. All right. So how do you guys feel about Trans Jamaica? Let me know. Did you buy it off of a sale? Shante XY. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. The agreement guarantees rate adjustments. It's a win all around. Exactly. It's a win. Deborah is saying NCB, Kingston Wharves, One, Trans Jamaica, Carib Cement, L.E.A.R.N, Indes, QWI. Okay. I think this is my son here. Let's sit down. Yep. So I'm gonna have to end the stream soon, guys. So just you want to lie down? No, you can't. You can't show your face on camera. Remember, we spoke about that. Okay. You want some tea? Okay, I'm gonna make you tea soon. Okay. Give Daddy 5 minutes. Okay. Okay. All right. So I went past the time, and so he's awake. It's planning for 30 minutes, but yeah, probably realizing I'm not in the bed with him, and so probably woke up. All right. Okay. Says he just wanted to stay with me in the office. Okay. All right. So I'll be right there. Okay. All right. So you're welcome. What are you thanking me for here? Chairman says I bought before the offer was sale as well as participated in the offer. I need Trans Jamaica to stay there for 3 more months. Not gonna stay there for 3 months. I give it a month and a half max. So you've had April, May, June, July at the same price. So but most persons don't want to buy when the price is not moving. So there's that. All right. Yeah. So I think, well, for me, I more than doubled. Okay, yeah, man, I'm coming. Okay, so stay right there. Um, so yeah, I think it's gonna be interesting the rest of the year to see. I do agree that they'll end the year higher than where they are now, and so yeah, so that's it for tonight, guys. I think you understand why I'll have to end the stream where it is now. Um, I do want to give some updates for the community before I go. So we're having a portfolio makeover challenge, right? We're having it in our our community. So I did the post yesterday. So I'm going to share what's involved in the challenge very quickly. So we're going to have a 3-day challenge, portfolio makeover challenge. The challenge will include the following topics: portfolio growth strategies, how to assess your stock portfolio, how to pick stocks for your portfolio, how to rebalance your portfolio, when to buy and when to sell stocks. So the challenge will have a cost. So it'll be $99 for the 3 days, and you get access to the recordings for 7 days, right? But we'll be helping persons, because what I find is that the one-on-ones that I'm doing mostly is usually persons wanting to know like how to research stocks, how to pick stocks. They're having stocks but not sure when to sell, when to buy, all of that stuff. So this makes sense for our challenge. And so we're going to have that in August 14 to 16. So we do have a limited number of spaces. So if you're interested, just join the community. You'll see the link there. And you can still join the monthly investment challenge. We end the challenge in December. So you still have 5 months to join and get access to all the recordings up until the challenge ends. And so those are the 2 options if you want to take the next step right now. But we have tons of videos if you just want to get started without having to pay anything right away. You know, just enjoy our content. Yes, we're gonna change your clothes soon, okay? All right, so what are your views on the market so far for the year? So the market is certainly not doing what I thought it would do, honestly, at this point, but still some opportunities there. But certainly, I'm a little bit disappointed. I do have something that is coming that I can't say the what, but I can say, well, I can say what it is, but I can't, of course, say the who. There is an offer coming to market soon, I'm being told, so we'll see, right? Can't give any specifics, so we'll see. When that comes, sometimes these things get pushed back, so we'll see how that goes, all right? But thanks to everyone for joining this stream. Hope everybody's doing well. Enjoy your summer, spend time with your families, and feel free to join our Learn, Grow, Invest community, our general community. We meet once per month just to share, encourage each other, give tips, share just our investment journey. So if you're interested in being a part of our community, you're welcome to join. And I'll see you very soon in another video. All right, so take care, everyone.
Learning is the key to successful investing. And who doesn't want to invest in some way?
Here at L.E.A.R.N Grow Invest, we focus on financial education, all with the aim of sharing our knowledge on personal finance, investing, and building wealth. We do this on the foundation of our faith in God.
If a more holistic approach is what you need, check out our Grow Faith-based financial coaching program.
Find out more about us at learngrowinvestclub.com
and follow us on all social media platforms at Learn, Grow, Invest.